A former assistant just testified that Diddy's people threatened to throw her in the East River if she failed a lie detector test. Right now, one of hip-hop's most powerful moguls is sitting in a Brooklyn jail cell, facing charges that could put him away for life. The trial that's captivating the world has exposed secrets so dark, so twisted, that even seasoned prosecutors are struggling to piece together the full scope of what allegedly went down behind closed doors. From drug-fueled marathons to alleged kidnappings, from firebombed cars to underground conspiracy theories spreading like wildfire across social media, this isn't just about one man's downfall. This is about an entire empire built on fear, control, and unimaginable abuse of power. When Capricorn Clark walked into that Manhattan federal courthouse, she carried with her secrets that had been buried for nearly 2 decades. Her testimony wasn't just another witness account. It was a roadmap into the alleged criminal enterprise that prosecutors claim Diddy operated right under everyone's noses. Clark described working 19-hour days, from 7 in the morning until 4 in the morning, with barely any sleep or meal breaks. The stress was so intense that she developed alopecia. Her hair literally fell out from the psychological torture of working for someone she now describes as the devil. But that was just the beginning of her nightmare. The jewelry incident that Clark described sent chills through the courtroom. 3 pieces of high-end diamond jewelry had gone missing while she was transporting them from New York to Miami. Before she even realized they were gone, Clark found herself being interrogated for hours by security guards who searched her apartment top to bottom. The next day, she was taken to a dilapidated building on Broadway, the same building that would become Bad Boy Entertainment's headquarters. On the 6th floor, in an empty space with nothing but folding chairs and a table, sat a man Clark described as the size of 2 linebackers. He was chain-smoking and drinking black coffee, and his message was crystal clear. Prove your innocence with this lie detector test, or you're going in the East River. The threat wasn't metaphorical. It was a death sentence hanging over her head. For 5 straight days, Clark was forced to return to that same building, taking the same test over and over again. The results kept coming back inconclusive because she was too terrified to calm down. When she finally passed, Diddy never mentioned the missing jewelry again. He never asked where she'd been for those 5 days. The jewelry was never found, and Clark realized she'd been put through psychological torture for something that was never her fault to begin with. But the most disturbing part? This was just standard operating procedure in Diddy's world. What prosecutors are revealing in this trial isn't just about individual acts of violence. It's about a systematic criminal enterprise that allegedly used every aspect of Diddy's business empire to facilitate and cover up decades of abuse. The indictment reads like something out of a crime thriller, but every word of it is being backed up by witness testimony and physical evidence that's making even hardened federal agents uncomfortable. The so-called freak-offs that keep coming up in testimony weren't just wild parties. They were allegedly elaborate, orchestrated performances that could last for days. Prosecutors claim these events involved heavy drug use, coercion, and filming of participants without their knowledge. Hotel staff described finding rooms completely trashed, with handprints left in oil on the walls and furniture damaged beyond repair. Clark's testimony revealed the disturbing logistics behind these events. She described unpacking Diddy's travel bags, which contained a toiletry kit filled with drugs like ecstasy and Molly, along with cameras and bottles of baby oil and lubricant. The setup was so routine that Clark knew exactly what needed to be arranged before Diddy even arrived at his destination. The control extended far beyond these alleged gatherings. Multiple witnesses have described a culture of fear where employees were subjected to lie detector tests, threatened with violence, and forced to sign NDAs that kept them silent about what they witnessed. Former assistant George Kaplan testified about being asked to clean up after these events, finding bottles of liquor and other evidence scattered throughout hotel suites. When federal agents raided Diddy's properties in March 2024, they didn't just find evidence. they found an arsenal. AR-15 rifles with filed-off serial numbers, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. The sheer volume of materials suggested this wasn't occasional party supplies. This was infrastructure for an ongoing operation. The financial records paint an equally disturbing picture. Clark testified about counting 100,000 euros in cash that Diddy kept in his personal safe, money he'd made from club bookings in Europe. The cash flow was so significant that when HR calculated Clark was owed $80,000 in overtime for just 3 months of work, Diddy simply ripped up the paperwork and refused to pay her. What's becoming clear is that every aspect of Diddy's empire, from Bad Boy Records to his clothing lines to his various business ventures, allegedly served a dual purpose. On the surface, they were legitimate businesses that generated massive wealth and influence. Underneath, prosecutors claim they were tools for intimidation, control, and covering up criminal activity that spanned decades. November 2023 was supposed to be just another month for Sean Combs. His latest album had been nominated for a Grammy. He was still riding high on his reputation as a hip-hop mogul, and his business empire was generating millions. Then Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit that would bring his entire world crashing down. The allegations in Cassie's lawsuit were so graphic, so detailed, and so disturbing that they immediately grabbed headlines worldwide. She described years of physical abuse, sexual coercion, and being forced to participate in the same freak-off performances that are now central to the federal case against Diddy. But what made her lawsuit different wasn't just the severity of the allegations, it was the specificity of her claims and her willingness to put her name on them. Cassie described being beaten unconscious, having her hair ripped out, and being forced to carry weapons for Diddy during his fits of rage. She alleged that he would drug her and force her to have relations with male S-workers while he filmed the encounters. When she tried to resist or escape, she claimed Diddy would threaten to destroy her career and leak the recordings he'd made without her consent. The lawsuit was settled within 24 hours, faster than almost any high-profile case in recent memory. Diddy's team insisted the quick settlement wasn't an admission of guilt, but the damage was already done. Cassie's courage to speak out had opened the floodgates, and within weeks, more accusers began coming forward with similar stories. But it was the surveillance footage that changed everything. In May 2024, CNN obtained and released hotel security video from 2016 showing Diddy brutally attacking Cassie in the hallway of a Los Angeles hotel. The footage was so violent, so shocking, that it corroborated every allegation Cassie had made about the physical abuse she endured. The video shows Diddy chasing Cassie down a hotel corridor, tackling her to the ground, and repeatedly kicking and punching her while she's defenseless on the floor. He drags her by her hair, throws objects at her, and the entire assault is captured in excruciating detail. When the footage was released, Diddy was forced to issue a public apology, but by then, federal investigators were already building their case. Cassie's testimony during the trial has been even more powerful than her original lawsuit. She's described the psychological manipulation that kept her trapped in the relationship, the way Diddy used his influence in the music industry to control every aspect of her life, and the terror she felt knowing that he had recorded evidence he could use to destroy her reputation at any moment. What makes her testimony so compelling is how it connects to everything else witnesses are describing. The hotel incidents, the drug use, the filming, the threats. It all fits together into a pattern that prosecutors are using to build their racketeering case. Cassie wasn't just an abused girlfriend. According to the indictment, she was a victim of trafficking, forced to perform for Diddy's entertainment and control. Her courage to speak out didn't just expose one man's alleged crimes. It revealed an entire system of abuse that had been hiding in plain sight for decades. Scott Mescudi, better known as rapper Kid Cudi, never expected that dating Cassie Ventura would put his life in danger. But his testimony last week revealed just how far Diddy was allegedly willing to go to maintain control over those in his orbit. Kid Cudi described receiving a terrifying phone call from Capricorn Clark in December 2011. She was crying, on the verge of panic, and her message was chilling. Diddy had discovered their relationship, and he was currently inside Kid Cudi's Hollywood Hills home. Clark had been forced into a car and taken to the house as part of what appeared to be an intimidation tactic designed to send a message. When Cudi raced home, he found that Diddy and his security team had already left. But the evidence of their visit was everywhere. Christmas presents had been opened and scattered around, and most disturbing of all, Cudi's dog had been locked in the bathroom. The animal was so traumatized by whatever had happened that it remained jittery and on edge for months afterward. The break-in was just the beginning. A few weeks later, someone threw a Molotov cocktail at Kid Cudi's Porsche, completely destroying the vehicle. The car was parked in his own driveway when the firebomb turned it into a twisted wreck of metal and melted plastic. Fire department investigators confirmed that the blaze was deliberately set, and they recovered evidence of the explosive device used in the attack. During his testimony, prosecutors showed the jury photographs of the burned-out Porsche. The images were stark evidence of what appeared to be retaliation for Cudi's relationship with Cassie. The convertible roof had been burned through completely. The leather seats were charred beyond recognition, and scorch marks covered the entire vehicle. Kid Cudi confronted Diddy about the incident the next day at a Los Angeles hotel. When he walked into the room, he found Diddy standing at the window with his hands behind his back, staring out at the city. Cudi described the scene as looking like a Marvel supervillain, calculated, menacing, and completely unrepentant. When Cudi directly accused him of being behind the car bombing, Diddy denied any involvement. But Cudi told the jury he didn't believe a word of it. The timing was too convenient, the message too clear. Stay away from Cassie, or face the consequences. The incident reveals something crucial about how Diddy allegedly operated. This wasn't just about controlling Cassie. It was about sending a message to anyone who might threaten his sense of ownership over the people in his world. Kid Cudi was a successful rapper in his own right, with his own security and resources, but even that wasn't enough protection from Diddy's alleged retaliation. What makes the testimony even more chilling is how it connects to other incidents described by witnesses. The break-ins, the intimidation tactics, the use of Diddy's staff and security to carry out what appeared to be criminal acts. It all points to an organization that functioned more like a criminal enterprise than a music business. The fact that investigators were able to recover physical evidence from the car bombing, including traces of the Molotov cocktail, suggests that this case goes far beyond he-said-she-said allegations. There's forensic proof that someone tried to send Kid Cudi a violent message, and the timing leaves little doubt about who was behind it. While the real evidence in Diddy's trial is shocking enough, social media has exploded with conspiracy theories that range from plausible to completely bizarre. The speculation has gotten so intense that it's almost overshadowing the actual criminal case, creating a parallel universe of rumors and theories that millions of people are treating as fact. One of the most persistent theories involves underground tunnels allegedly connecting Diddy's Los Angeles mansion to other properties in the area. Social media sleuths claim these tunnels were used to transport people to and from his infamous parties without being detected. While architectural records show the property does have a grotto and underground features, there's no evidence supporting the elaborate tunnel network that conspiracy theorists describe. Dr. Umar Johnson, known for his controversial views, has pushed the theory that Diddy's arrest was deliberately timed as a political distraction. According to this theory, powerful forces wanted to divert attention from the 2024 presidential election by giving people a celebrity scandal to focus on instead. Johnson claims the timing wasn't coincidental. It was strategic manipulation designed to keep people from paying attention to important policy decisions being made behind the scenes. The conspiracy theories have also swept up other celebrities in ways that seem completely disconnected from reality. Rumors spread that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were getting divorced because of old photos showing Kutcher at Diddy parties, despite both actors having no connection to the criminal allegations. Representatives for the couple have called these claims completely false, but that hasn't stopped the speculation from continuing. Justin Bieber has become the subject of particularly disturbing theories, fueled by an AI-generated song that went viral in April. The fake track, created to sound like Bieber's voice, includes lyrics about getting lost at a Diddy party. While CBS News confirmed the song was artificially created, its timing and content have led to wild speculation about Bieber's relationship with Diddy when he was a young artist. Usher's social media accounts were mysteriously wiped shortly after Diddy's arrest, leading to theories that he was trying to hide evidence of his own involvement. Usher later claimed his accounts had been hacked, but conspiracy theorists saw this as proof that he was part of a larger cover-up involving multiple celebrities who attended Diddy's parties over the years. Perhaps the most elaborate theory involves the death of Kim Porter, Diddy's ex, and the mother of several of his children. Porter died in 2018 from pneumonia, but conspiracy theorists claim Diddy had her eliminated to prevent her from releasing a tell-all memoir about their relationship. A fake memoir claiming to be written by Porter was even published on Amazon, filled with sensational allegations that have never been verified. The conspiracy theories have become so widespread that they're affecting how people view the actual criminal case. Some observers worry that the focus on unproven speculation is distracting from the serious allegations that prosecutors are trying to prove in court. Others argue that the theories, however wild, reflect a genuine belief that Diddy's influence in the entertainment industry was so extensive that a massive cover-up involving multiple celebrities and powerful figures is entirely plausible. What's particularly concerning is how these theories spread. TikTok and other social media platforms have become breeding grounds for misinformation about the case, with videos containing unverified claims getting millions of views. The platform's algorithm seems to amplify the most sensational content, regardless of whether it's based on facts or pure speculation. The line between legitimate questions about Diddy's network of associates and completely fabricated conspiracy theories has become increasingly blurred, creating an information environment where millions of people aren't sure what to believe about one of the biggest criminal cases in entertainment history. What we're witnessing isn't just the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. It's potentially the beginning of a complete reckoning with how power operates in the entertainment industry. The allegations being presented in this courtroom expose systems of control and abuse that allegedly functioned for decades, while industry insiders either looked the other way or actively participated in covering them up. If Diddy is convicted on all charges, he faces a potential life sentence in federal prison. The racketeering charge alone carries a maximum penalty of life behind bars, while the trafficking charges come with mandatory minimum sentences that would keep him locked up for at least 15 years, even in the best-case scenario. For someone who built his identity around wealth, influence, and control, the prospect of dying in a federal penitentiary represents the ultimate fall from grace. But the implications go far beyond one man's fate. The federal investigation that led to these charges is described by prosecutors as far from over. They've made it clear that they believe other people were involved in facilitating and covering up the alleged crimes, and they're actively encouraging additional victims and witnesses to come forward. The scope of the investigation suggests that Diddy's arrest may be just the beginning of a much larger series of prosecutions. The entertainment industry is already feeling the impact. Other powerful figures are reportedly hiring crisis management firms and criminal defense attorneys, anticipating that they might be swept up in the expanding investigation. The culture of silence that allegedly protected Diddy for so long is cracking, and industry insiders are beginning to speak openly about incidents and behavior that were previously considered untouchable topics. Social media has amplified every aspect of this case in ways that wouldn't have been possible even a few years ago. The conspiracy theories, the leaked documents, the real-time coverage of courtroom testimony, it's all happening in a digital environment where millions of people feel like they have front-row seats to the biggest celebrity scandal in decades. This level of public engagement is putting unprecedented pressure on prosecutors, defense attorneys, and the justice system as a whole. The case is also exposing uncomfortable truths about how celebrity culture intersects with criminal behavior. For years, Diddy's parties were seen as the ultimate expression of success and influence in hip hop culture. A-list celebrities, politicians, and business leaders all wanted invitations to his exclusive events. Now, those same gatherings are being described in federal court as elaborate criminal enterprises designed to facilitate abuse and maintain control over victims. The psychological impact on survivors who are finally able to tell their stories publicly cannot be understated. For many of them, speaking out meant risking their careers, their safety, and their reputations. The fact that the justice system is taking their allegations seriously represents a fundamental shift in how these cases are handled, particularly when they involve powerful men in the entertainment industry. Whether Diddy is ultimately convicted or acquitted, this trial has already changed the conversation about accountability in hip hop and entertainment more broadly. The days when wealth and influence could guarantee silence from victims and witnesses appear to be ending, replaced by an environment where survivors feel empowered to speak truth to power regardless of the consequences. The final verdict in this case won't just determine Sean Combs's fate. It will send a message about whether the justice system is capable of holding the most powerful figures in entertainment accountable for their alleged crimes. After decades of rumors, whispers, and speculation, the truth about what really happened behind the scenes of one of hip-hop's biggest empires is finally being revealed in a federal courtroom. And what emerges from this trial may reshape the entire industry for generations to come.